mute, so you're welcome when you have a question, you can just unmute it yourself. We all have capacity to do that. So we do look forward to, at the end of or throughout, to have questions and have some discussion. So first of all, I'd like to welcome everyone to our first workshop for this boot camp, hosted by American University of Sharjah. We're very excited to bring to you the topic that we're going to talk about today. We're actually going to be talking about the experience that the AUS team had in their boot camp when they participated in 2020, and how that has how they have integrated that into the classroom. And we actually have a group of students here that will be presenting the work that they've done in the classroom, so you can really get a sense of what this looks like in action and how it was done. So first of all, I'd like to have all of the people that will be presenting today do just a quick introduction. We'll start with Mohammed and Norita, and then we'll ask the students to unmute themselves and introduce themselves as well. So Mohammed, why don't you go ahead and just do a quick introduction for those who don't know you yet.
Yes, buenos dias. Good afternoon. Mi llamo is Mohammed. Soy de Marruecos. My name is Mohammed. I am from Morocco, and I teach at the American University of Sharjah, and I'm happy to be with you and share my experience with you. Thank you very much.
Norita?
Yes, good to see everybody. So thank you so much for joining us. So my name is Norita Ahmad. I am a faculty here at the American University of Sharjah, just with Mohammed and with Rose, originally from Malaysia. Looking forward to seeing everybody.
Great. And I see a couple of you on screen, so I'll call a couple of your names for the students, and the other ones I'm not quite seeing. So Rachel?
Hello, my name is Rachel. I'm a senior student. I'm a year 4 student majoring in finance. I will be graduating this semester, and I'm looking forward to this workshop today. Thank you.
Thank you. Shuk?
Hello, everyone. My name is Shoghi Zaraouni, and I'm a 4th year AUS student majoring in computer science, and I'm looking forward to this workshop.
Thanks. Zoha?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Zoha Siddiqui. I am a final year 4th year student at the American University of Sharjah, majoring in finance, and I'm really happy to be here.
Iman? Iman, we're having a very hard time hearing you. Your audio is not very good. Go ahead, Noor.
Hello, I'm Noura Kutsi. I'm a finance student at the American University of Sharjah and is expected to graduate in May 2023.
Fantastic. And who, did I miss anyone?
Greetings. My name is Ezekiel Murada. I am also part of the group. I am a 2nd year AUS student majoring in computer science and looking forward for this workshop. Thank you.
Fantastic, Ezekiel. Sorry about that. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is Norita is going to give a little bit of background about how we got to where we are now. So I'll hand the floor to Norita. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Rose. Again, thank you and welcome everybody. Very, very excited for this workshop because we decided to take it a little bit different than the usual workshop that we did at the bootcamp. So we're going to have another one in May that's going to be a panel discussion kind of style. But today, what we want to do, we really want to share our experience in hope that maybe if you have any questions, if you want to know exactly how we make the best use of the bootcamp, and also we want to share the progress of whatever it is that we focus on during the workshop and giving you some update in terms of what's happening today. Okay, so again, like Rose mentioned, we joined the bootcamp in 2020, 2021. And the reason behind that was back in spring 2019. So at AUS, we kind of formed a special task force to develop a new general education course for the undergraduate students. And this is a required course for everybody across the entire university. So and the reason for that is because the course was stipulated by the Commission for Academic Accreditation, the CAA. So whether we like it or not, we have to create this course. And it is basically, I mean, the mandate was that we have to create a course that promotes competency in innovation and also entrepreneurship. And at the same time, the course have to also imbue the principles of sustainability. So this is the first, basically, like totally new course that we have to develop. And we don't really have a lot of, I guess, resources and background in that. So going back to the reason why the UAE wants to do this. So the reason is that UAE is very, very, I guess, enthusiastic and proactive when it comes to sustainable development. And they basically, the Ministry of Education and the government want to make sure that by 2030, all universities across the UAE has to somehow incorporate the concept of environmental and sustainable education. So in order to prepare for 2030, we are trying to put together at least one course that we can test here at AUS. So in order to make sure that everything happens, so the UAE invested quite a lot of money actually to send faculty members across the UAE to attend training by Stanford. So what happened is that we are looking at Stanford existing course for innovation and entrepreneurship. And we are trying to basically understand the best way to create this course and to teach innovation and entrepreneurship. Okay, and Stanford is known for that. So that's basically the whole idea. So the one thing is that, so the Stanford Innovation and Entrepreneurship course doesn't really have sustainability aspect in the original design. But in order for us to meet the requirement of the CAA, the accreditation, we have to make sure that we incorporate principle of sustainability into our curriculum. Okay. So that's the basically one of the biggest challenges that we face. So I was one of the committee members, and Mohammed was also one of the committee members. So we're trying to understand and trying to find what is the best way for us to do that. Okay. So what we did, so we attended the training, obviously, and we look at the original syllabus by Stanford. So Stanford original syllabus has 6 course learning outcomes. So we decided to keep all 6, but tweak the course learning outcome a little bit. So we combined the first 2 learning outcomes because it focused on innovation, entrepreneurship. And then what we did, the last course learning outcome, the 6th one, we modified that to include sustainability principle. The challenge, one of the biggest challenges is that we cannot simply change the syllabus or the course learning outcome that we got from the original Stanford course. We can only modify between 20 to 30% of the original curriculum or the syllabus itself. So that's very, very challenging for us. So that's one thing. The second thing is that we didn't have any experience in terms of how exactly can we integrate sustainability into our curriculum. So again, we were pretty lost at that time. And the third challenge was, like I said, this is a general education course. It is offered to all students across the universities that come from different background, different field. So the challenge is that how exactly can we incorporate sustainability with innovation, with entrepreneurship, and at the same time, considering all the students' background, because they're coming from different areas, they might not have the same understanding. So we have 3 big challenges that we have to basically try to tackle, when we try to develop this course. So we put everything kind of together, and then in spring 2020, we developed, or we offered this course as the first time as a pilot course. And Mohammed was lucky enough to be the one chosen to teach the course. And then we know that it's really, really challenging. It's fun, but it's also really challenging. And somehow we came across the call for participation for the bootcamp. At that time, it was just, I guess, the code design, the learning code design bootcamp. And we thought this is going to be a great opportunity for us to learn from colleagues from all around the world, and also to get some ideas in terms of how exactly can we design this course in the most effective way. So that's basically the background and the motivation of why we sign up in the bootcamp. And like I said, we were so happy that we did, because we learned so much in terms of all the nitty gritty, all those small things that we didn't think about. So when we talked to our mentors, and we were lucky enough to have Maria as our mentor, so she asked all the different kind of questions that we were like, this is exactly what we should do. So we basically make a lot of changes into the original ideas of how we design the course, especially in terms of the activities, engagement, the cases that we use, and also the projects. So Mohammed is going to continue and share with you later in terms of the specific of the course, the different kind of projects that we do, and the syllabus as well. So I'm just going to stop here unless somebody have any questions. If not, I'm just going to send it back to Rose.
If you have a question for Nurita, you're welcome to open your mic or to write it in the chat, and I can read it out if anyone has any questions. Okay, then we'll go ahead and hand it off to Mohammed, and he can talk. He's going to go a little bit more granular and start to talk about how actually teaching the class and putting this in the class and working with the students, how this has worked. So Mohammed, if you would like to take the floor.
Yes, thank you very much. 2 questions. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. So thank you very much. Thank you, Nurita, for this insightful information and background in this experience. I will also take this opportunity and express my thank you to Maria. Thank you very much, Maria. We were lucky to have you as our mentor. Okay, let me now share with you some of the experiences I have learned and how we integrated the sustainability principles in our syllabus. So,
Mohammed, is it possible to go into presentation mode so we can so it's a little bit bigger in the screen?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Here it is. So the course is the IEN 301 Innovation and Entrepreneurship Mindset, as Nurita said. So the course uses a mixture of pedagogical approaches and covers 3 content areas. I would like now to share with you the syllabus to have a look at it. Yeah, here it is. So that's the syllabus. Yeah, I need to. Good. So I would like just to go down and see. So here, as you see, the course is heavy when it comes to projects. So there are only 3 projects. We will have 2 team projects and 1 personal or individual projects. I will talk about the project later on. So as I said, 3 projects, 2 team projects and 1 individual. I would like to show you now the contents. Here I'm scrolling down. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So the course, as I said, we have a kind of, let's say, modules. Module number 1 is about design thinking and how we can teach our students the creative confidence, so they can start thinking about bringing business ideas. As Nurita mentioned, here we have week 5. We have added 1 chapter about sustainability principles with the case study. And chapter number 6 is about sustainability and design thinking. Now we combine between the design thinking, which is an approach to innovation, to bring ideas to innovation, and the sustainability design, and also the circular thinking, the sustainability principles. And we added also one chapter at the end. Here, chapter 13. Here also we combine the principle of sustainability and entrepreneurship, of course, embedded in innovation and leadership, which means each project that the students are working on should contain a sustainability component in it. And that's part of the rubric, the criteria. So a project that does not address the sustainability components or dimensions is not a complete project. So that's the syllabus so far. Now let me go back to, yeah. Okay, as I said, we have 3 projects. I would like now to go and talk about the project number 1 and project number 2. So these projects actually are also adopted and adapted to our university, as I said, because the initial syllabus from Stanford University does not include any sustainability learning outcomes. So that's the project number 1. It's about a point of view statement. The students should work on an organization. They should identify a problem and bring a point of view statement after conducting a number of interviews and research. So that's the challenge, the objectives. Here, I would like also to mention that the students in project number 1, they should use Miro. Miro is an application that empowers the students to use their brainstorming skills. So yeah, that's the project number 1. So the students should present group presentation, but in this project, the students should use Miro and no other. You should not use slides or any other presentation tools. The only one is Miro, and Miro is actually a very nice application. Let me now go to project number 2. Yeah, project number 2 is about an opportunity analysis project where the students should or they can, for instance, use another organization, or in the case of the team innovators, they worked on project 1 on campus, problem to identify a problem on campus. And the second project, which is opportunity analysis project, is a kind of continuation. So the students will elaborate on that later on. So here the students should come up with a concept and vision, the market analysis, the customer development. Here also, they can also bring a persona to make their target audience more relevant and relatable. And also they need to come up with a positioning statement. And at the end, a business model or lean startup philosophy. So these are the things that the students should take into account when they design their projects. So before I invite my students to present their projects, I would like to elaborate on the key competencies for sustainability. So we identify 8 key competencies and 3 ways. The first way is the way of thinking. The second way is the way of practicing. And the third way is the way of being. So the first way of thinking consists of 3 competencies: system thinking, and future thinking, and critical thinking. So when my students will present, after the presentation, I will show you where the students integrated their competencies in their project. The second ways of practicing is strategic competency, collaboration competency, and problem-solving competency. The third way is the ways of being. Here you have 2 competencies: the self-awareness. Also, the project of the students will show the self-awareness when they start thinking about their communities, what's happening in their, let's say, immediate locations or context. And the last key competency is the normative one. Here it's about the ethical thinking of the projects. I think, Rose, I am done with my presentation. I will give the micro back to you.
Fantastic. So we're going to now ask the students to pull up their presentation and to give an overview of their presentation. Before they do that, one of the things that we thought would be important is to give a little bit of background of AUS. So American University of Sharjah is a suburban campus in the Emirate of Sharjah, and so we have limited public transport coming to campus. Most of our students commute to campus, and so this highlights kind of where the students are coming from and where and what their thoughts were in their project. So if you guys would like to share the screen and do your presentation, that would be great.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to be talking to you about the solution that we have derived from the parking dilemma based at the American University of Sharjah. Moving on, I would first like to show you a visual representation of what exactly our solution or our situation looks at our university. This video is taken in one of the parking areas at AUS. Here, you can see that 3 to 4 cars have been stuck in this particular junction, and they're moving in 3 different ways, and they're trying to get to a parking spot. They had to wait until all of the area is cleared and then only move forward. The other issue that we've seen is that if you can see in this video, the left-hand side, the left lane, has been completely taken over by cars that have been parked. This is actually an illegal parking because what was once a 2-way street has now become a 1-way lane just because students are unable to get a parking spot and hence have parked on the sidelines. This also creates a really hazardous situation because as you can see, when this car is driving, you could get another car coming in from the opposite direction, causing a crash. The other way that they could avoid this is by doing a reverse movement. But this would in turn create another issue for the person behind them and of course the cars in front. And this is overall not a situation that students like to be in. So this doesn't mean that our university does not have parking spaces. We have over 17 parking spaces with around 4 to 5 dedicated for staff alone. But the ones which are free parking areas are the parking 15 here and parking 6. And this creates students to walk for like around 10 minutes. And so they in turn park very close to the university in the paid spaces and in turn block traffic. So what did we do for this? Once we've understood the situation and learned to sympathize with our audience, which was mainly the students at the American University, we started getting into the ideation factor of the design thinking process. We brought up around 7 solutions that could possibly help us in this particular problem. There were the valley system, there was a shuttle bus system, as well as the underground parking system. When we put this into the trifecta of the feasibility, desirability, and viability, we realized that what first seemed like a good solution did not properly show up here. In terms of the valley services, even though they were feasible and desirable, they failed in the viability sector. And the shuttle buses, although they were desirable and viable, it wasn't something that students could maintain coming on time for because they had a lot of gap between in the timings. The one that we've thought was the best solution in terms of all three sectors like feasibility, desirability, and viability was the RFID solution that we are going to be presenting to you. So over to you, Shub.
Thank you, Zoha. So given the problems that Zoha just mentioned, and given that I too struggle with finding a parking spot, even though I have a prepaid parking sticker, which is essentially a paid parking sticker provided by the university to up to 300 students, it is handed out on a first-come, first-served basis, which enables students with that specific sticker to park in designated parking areas, which are usually the closest to the buildings. Our parking system aims to improve existing parking systems by making them fair for students, as they will be able to pre-book a parking spot, And it is also more convenient with the usage of a fully automated and user-friendly system that can be scaled up and implemented as a standard parking system around the country in places such as hospitals, other universities, and malls. Additionally, our system aims to make use of some pre-existing hardware components such as RFID chips, an RFID scanner, and a parking barrier. We also aim to develop software that automatically connects the components via a user-friendly app that provides convenience by sending reminders to students regarding their reservation. Also connecting to this user's calendar and calculating the distance to find the optimal parking spot for the student. So our system works as follows. As you can see here from the app template, the student will log into the app, and when the student logs in, the app will be able to access the student's schedules when the student will be able to access the student's schedules. Then the student will be redirected to another page where the student will be able to manually choose a parking location or choose the option for optimal distance, which basically determines the best parking area for the student by calculating the shortest distance the student has to walk from the parking spot to the building based on the student's first and last class of the day. Our app will also make use of a subset of AI called machine learning to study the student's behavior. For instance, if students tend to leave campus in between classes or not, to predict how full the parking lots will be and redirect students accordingly based on that information to avoid wasting the time of students while they drive around looking for a parking space. The app will also be able to recommend to students to walk to the buildings if the weather conditions were good. Furthermore, it is notable to mention that individual components that we have implemented in our system exist, and other parking systems that use similar components also exist, such as toll gates and parking spaces with access control, which are in fact successful. However, they have a lot of room for improvement. So here you can see the university before the implementation of our parking system. Students are parking along the curb, and as a result of the illegal parking, they are getting fined by security. It is also notable to mention that there will be no need for security in the implementation of our solution to walk around and find students, because after the parking reaches maximum capacity, students will not be able to enter, thereby no more students parking along the curb. Thank you. Now moving on to Noor.
Thank you, Shuk. As for the market analysis, we are addressing the parking system industry by focusing on implementing technology in the parking system for our primary audience, which are universities, scaling up to university cities, and subsequently to industrial areas, global village, health centers, etc. Furthermore, we are mainly pursuing the behavioral segment of the overall market, which are the decisions and actions our customers make when finding a parking spot. This market is attractive since we gathered that many struggle with this problem, which on average takes around 15 minutes to find a parking spot in the UAE. Therefore, many people would benefit from this innovation, which is combining the parking system and the RFID technology. Regarding the market growth of the parking systems, as you can see from the graph, the market revenue was at $3,500 million in 2019 and will reach at $5,600 million in 2025, with a compound annual growth rate of 8% during 2021 to 2025. Moving on to Rachel.
Thank you, Noor. So to better empathize with our target audience, which are the students who drive to university, we conducted surveys and focus groups. The most common response from these responses were they hated wasting time looking for a parking spot, which got them late to class, and they hated having to walk the long distance, especially in this heat in the UAE. Currently, the system implemented on our campus is a parking sticker system. Students are given a free parking sticker, which limits them to parking zones on the outskirts of campus. But with an additional fee, selective students are given a prepaid parking sticker, which gives them access to parking spots closer to some of the academic buildings. However, the issue here is that the number of stickers issued is greater than the number of parking spots actually available for students. This causes the parking spots to become at full capacity very quickly, and oftentimes students either park near the pavement illegally, or some of them even park in faculty parking areas. Thus, we believe that our solution will help efficiently and effectively solve this parking issue. To visualize this better, we created two personas. The first persona is a representation of most of the students who drive to university. She is 19 years old and she has a free parking sticker, which means that she is limited to only parking in 2 or 3 parts on campus. So her issue here is that she is always late to classes because she's unable to find a parking spot in time. With our system, we not only recommend her a perfect parking spot which is close to campus, but she knows the shortest amount of distance it will take for her to reach her classes. The second persona that we have is a professor who, as a faculty member, has a designated parking area. But because, as we said earlier, because parking areas fill up very quickly, students end up parking in faculty, and as a result, he himself is unable to find a parking spot. Through our solution, we will be better organize our parking situation on campus, and thus the professor can park in peace. Moving on to Iman.
Thank you very much, Rachel. To further strategize our startup Park and Save, we did an extensive analysis on who our possible competitors might be, because it won't be long before every telecommunication company would want to enter this market, because technology always demands a connection to our everyday life. Therefore, we identified over 4 competitors. The first is Cas Parking, based in the UAE. Second is Hub Parking, and then Yalla Parking and Labilium. Additionally, our startup named Park and Save is also up there. Now, most of our competitors are based in the UAE or they have begun expansion in the Gulf, except for Labilium, which is based in Spain. Because of this, Labilium has a shortcoming which arises from the lack of familiarity with the UAE's target demographics, which in our case primarily is university students. Therefore, in comparison, Park and Save has done extensive research in our student demographic body through conducting extreme focus groups. Therefore, we believe that we would be able to attend to our parking problem in a much better format. Additionally, an advantage that Cas Parking and Hub Parking have is that they have a lot of experience in the implementation of parking systems in various sectors and various other emirates and cities. However, they lack in one thing, which is having a smart parking system. In that aspect, our startup fares far better because it provides a smart parking system that utilizes current technologies, including RFID and machine learning algorithms, to provide our customers with a hassle-free experience. In terms of shortcomings, a small shortcoming occurs if our startup wishes to scale up because our target demographic is limited and restricted to university students. However, we believe that through extensive research done on our expanding target audience, we would be able to accomplish that in a few months' time. In terms of projected sales, our startup is projected to have a growing sales due to the above mentioned advantages in comparison to our competitors. In terms of barriers to entry, only Cas Parking and Hub Parking do not have any concrete barriers, and some of these barriers mainly include cost. Now, in terms of sustainability, Cas Parking, Hub Parking, Cas Parking, Labilium, Cas Parking, Yellow Parking, and
It looks like Iman got kicked off. Can one of the other students pick up where she?
Yes.
Yes,
Sorry.
of course.
Thank you.
Of course. So where she was just ending on the fact that in terms of sustainability, Cas Parking and Hub Parking did not actually take that into regard, whereas Yalla Parking, Labilium, as well as our own startup is something that takes sustainability to the forefront and utilizes on that. Moving on, I think Ezekiel is going to be taking us to the business model canvas.
Yes, I am. So this is our business model template that we have developed for this project. As you can see, our main business proposition is to provide sustainable parking solutions to customers while significantly reducing the wait time. Moving over, our main Our key activities overall is to ensure the sustainability is our main priority and we are able to educate about sustainable solutions to our target audience. For our product to be implemented, our initial budget would need to include RFID scanners ranging from $1,250 all the way to $20,000 per one unit, and chips that would cost 50 dirhams for each one, where we need 100,000 of units. Furthermore, the app development, advertisement, and promotion will range around from 4,000 to 6,000 dirhams for it to ensure it got implemented, with parking barriers as an extra fee in the budget. Our way to generate profit would be from our revenue streams. Our first revenue stream being revenue per student, 50 dirhams or 70 dirham per semester, or a universal subscription of $10,000 per year. Our secondary revenue stream will be ad revenues, which would come around to 5,000 dirhams in 3 years estimated. Moving on to Zola to conclude this presentation.
Zoha, you're on mute.
I'm sorry. From an environmental standpoint, large parking lots actually retain a lot of the heat at night and increase the heat of the area. And this in turn sometimes leads to heat-related illnesses and also extreme heat events. Now, since we do have a lot of space in the university itself, we would reducing such parking spots would help us reduce the heat in those particular areas, as well as it would reduce energy consumption that students usually increase a lot in, because they would be searching, they would be finding for that perfect parking spot and in turn wasting energy. This would also put in place a sustainable parking system within the university that would encourage students to utilize or take in regard the amount that consumption that occurs when they do search for the parking areas. And this is it from us. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you guys so much, and thank you for quick thinking on your feet with her getting kicked off the platform. Sorry about that. So what we would like for, thank you for all the wonderful comments in the chat, and it's really incredible. You guys, the students should go and read all the accolades that were given. But what we would really like to do now is we wanted to give you an example of the kind of project that is the outcome from this class. We're not going to go really deep into giving feedback on the project per se, but what we want you to do as you're going into the next module and you're starting to think about the pedagogy and you're starting to think about the key learning outcomes and the head, the heart, and the hand, and all those things. We wanted to give you a concrete example of an outcome from the class. So now that we'll invite Mohammed to come back and to talk about how using all of those key learning outcomes and indicators and the head, heart, and hand, how that has manifested itself into this project and where he has used those things, so that you have a solid example to be able to see what this could look like as you're starting to create your own curriculum for your class. So I'll hand it over to you, Mohammed, to kind of make those connections, and then we'll open it up for questions, and the students will be here if you do have questions for them, but we'll also have questions. You can also ask questions about the learnings and those kinds of things. So Mohammed, I'll hand it off.
Yes, thank you. So briefly, I will just thank you, the students, for your job. As I wrote, you are my eternal inspiration. You are very good, mashallah. I'm proud of you. So as we all know, rubrics are useful and they help us to assess the learning outcomes of any assignment or class. But here I think what I'm trying to share with you is how I, as an instructor, how can I learn from the achievements of the students and see how can I improve my project or my assignments. So I give you an example. For instance, for me, the students, they demonstrated an excellent understanding of the assignment, while by the, oh, sorry, mistake. I need to, yeah, that's better now. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So when we talked about the future thinking, which means when the students would like to design any project, they need to think about the future. How can this, for instance, in this case, how can this application contribute to an improvement in terms of what will be done in the future? How can, for instance, the university use the application, adopt the application, and use it to solve problems for the future? When I say future thinking, I'm talking about circular thinking, and by default, I am talking about sustainability principle. So in the project at the end, the students showed that the concept of sustainability was embedded from the design, because sometimes we do a project and at the end we add this as, let's say, greenwashing. But the thinking of the students showed that from the very beginning, the students, they were fully aware of the sustainability as a part of the solution. So that's what was very good. So when we talk about the, yeah, I would like to add also, at the end, the students, they showed that it's about moving from the university city on campus, because the problem is, let's say, a local problem. Here also, I can add one point, a layer of understanding. So the students started thinking of their local context. Here, they reflected their self-reflexive awareness. So the students, they would like to use what they have learned in class theory to solve real life problems in their local communities. That was an excellent example to show self-reflexive thinking, which is a way of being. And what I liked about this project is the students, they moved from the university city, it's our large campus here, to take this solution maybe to Sharjah, the city, and maybe to the Dubai, to the Abu Dhabi, and maybe to the United Arab Emirates, and they scale up the project to the Gulf region. So this also shows that the students are aware of the impact they can trigger at the local level and at the national, maybe at the global, because they mentioned there is competition in Spain. So that's also a good thinking. The students also, they applied the self-awareness thinking when worried on project that is related to their daily experience. So they want to give back to their community, and that's another example of to measure first the thinking, yeah, the logos, the rational thinking, but also the cognitive dimension of it. It's a practical solution to that problem. So that's also from a business point of view, this is really amazing. So equally is the smooth integration of all these skills, all of them. I mean now the skills, the knowledge, the attitudes, based on the 8 key competencies, from the system thinking to the normative thinking. So there is a normative judgment. You would like the students here, they would like to make a change at the level of the community, of the students of the university. And this is very powerful. So the students showed that they are good citizens, good local citizens, but by extension, good global citizens. So now, as for me, now as an instructor, I can be confident that the students, empowered by all these skills, knowledge, attitudes, and willingness, they can embark on their individual projects and implement all what they have learned in their entrepreneurial journey. Thank you very much. Rose, back to you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. So what I'd like to do now is we've left a lot of time because we want people to think about the project that they're working on and to ask questions. So I'd like to open the floor for questions. You're welcome to open your mic and ask the question, or you can type them into the chat. And I'm sure that Maria or Yuma will help me translate those if you type them into Spanish. So either Spanish or English in the chat is completely fine.
Hi, can I start off with something?
Sure, Mai.
Oh, okay. Hi, guys. I'm also at the American University of Sharjah, just to know where I am at. First of all, I just want to say great job for the students. The presentation itself was really well done. So well done for that. And especially a shout out for Zoha, who is also my student this semester. You were not in class on Wednesday, by the way, I'm just saying. But anyway, but great job, seriously, all of you. I have a question for the students, and then I have a question for Mohammed as well. First thing for the students, I wonder, like, doing this project as part of the course, from your experience, what was the most challenging aspect of it, of this whole experience of doing the project? Because, you know, the project-based learning is a very important part of this course, and it's always good to hear the students' perspective on it. What do you struggle with when you're working on such a project? And my question to Mohammed is actually about the rubrics for all kinds of assessments in this course. I was just wondering, how did you create your rubrics, or were there already ready-made stuff that you relied on? What was the process happening with that? Thank you.
So let's have the students talk about the project-based learning, if you guys could give any insights that you have.
Okay, one of the problems that we faced were like time for conflicts, as we all have our own schedule to follow during classes, and then for the project we need to find a time where everyone is available, or at least most of us is available, and some of us struggles to find a suitable timing. That's one challenge.
Zoha?
Yes. So for us, like sitting and brainstorming was also something that, because we had a lot of different ideas, a lot of them. So we began with around like 20 ideas or so, and we had to keep on narrowing it down. Somebody would say that, you know, this is not working, this is not working. And we had to get used to the fact that there's going to be another student who is going to bring about a better idea, or is going to find faults in that particular idea and learn to give it up. So I think that was also one of the challenges, because we had a lot of different ideas, and having to be able to stick to that one particular idea and see it through. Having 6-membered group was something, and pretty opinionated. All of us are pretty opinionated. So I think that was one of our challenges too.
What a great professional soft skill to learn. So that's great. Anybody else have any of the other students have any feedback? Mohammed, could you repeat your question for Mohammed?
Yeah. No, I have it.
You got it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, thank you. Mai, thank you very much for your question. I will be honest with you, it's a very challenging question. Because this course, this IEN 301 Innovation Entrepreneurship Mindset is a work in progress. The rubrics themselves are work in progress. I'm still personally improving, modifying, adding, deleting, making sense. I try to make sense for me and also for my students, because the rubrics most of the time they are good for the students, because they know on which criteria they will be graded. But for me, as an instructor, the rubrics, we have 2 rubrics. We have one for the reports, and the reports, the students have components. They should address these components. Otherwise, the project is not complete. And if the project is complete, then it doesn't make sense. That's one. And the second rubric is about the pitch, the presentation. And the presentation, one of the things I pay attention when the students is the storytelling part of it. That's one. And when I say storytelling, I mean here it's an emotional process, but it should make sense, rationally speaking. For instance, some students sometimes, in this case, I think it was Shawq. Shawq, I think she didn't mention today, or she did, maybe I didn't hear that. This is a problem, is an awareness of anecdote and a problem that Shawq herself was facing. Shawq, do you agree with me?
Yes, Professor, I definitely agree. I struggle with parking a lot in the university. As I mentioned in the presentation, I have a prepaid parking sticker, but I still struggle with parkings because people tend to park illegally. And also some students with free parking stickers tend to park in the areas of the prepaid parking stickers.
For me, as an instructor, this is really powerful. Why? Because here the students have learned the skills, the thinking tools, and they are empowering them in real life to solve first personal problems. And then if today I was talking to Shawq about this, if the students has a dream, she can turn this passion into a profit, into a business. And that's also for me a moment of zero moment of truth. And the students who started their project from their real stories, real life, then I think I will take this into account. And I would like to add 3 other dimensions or components to form my rubric here is the feasibility and desirability. Sometimes a project is desirable, but it's not feasible. So this is also one of the criteria we can measure. And the most important point here is the scalability. If the business idea, if it is, for instance, doable, feasible in the United Arab Emirates, can we use this, for instance, in Egypt, one of the promising markets, for instance, or in Saudi, or maybe in India, or in Pakistan. So I think this is very important. As I say, to summarize, we have rubrics, but they are flexible, and I am happy that they are open to be refined, because nothing is perfect. There is the process that makes things nicely or effective or efficient. Thank you, May.
Can I just add a little bit to what Muhammad said, just to kind of put the perspective. So this is one of the courses that is really, really well coordinated. Obviously, Muhammad was the first that kind of pilot the course, but we have like a group of faculty members who were trained by Stanford and work very closely with our center. So for example, the rubric that Muhammad created, obviously, you know, he started with that, but it went through, I guess, a few rounds of discussion with colleagues. And again, this is a work in progress that we will keep refining the rubric in the upcoming semesters as well. So we started with just, I guess, 2-3 sessions. And then this semester we have around 10 sessions. Next semester, we're gonna start offering 20 sessions. And then in the fall, we're gonna offer 40 sessions of this course. So you have to imagine how difficult it is for all of us to kind of coordinate this course. So Muhammad is, I guess, kind enough to be the main official coordinator starting from next semester so that we can standardize the course across the university. Okay, that's all I have.
Well, and I'll also just add to that, all of each college at the university, it has assigned professors to teach this course. So it's not, there's not a team of 4 or 5 professors that are teaching all of these courses. How many professors do you have? Will you have when you do, will it be 40 different professors?
We have 35 professors,
35 for all from different disciplines trying to teach the same course. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely been very valuable for them to go through this boot camp process and to really formulate this curriculum to really be defined and clear in what they're doing, because it is going across so many different professors with different backgrounds and different disciplines.
Yes, great point, yes.
Yeah, and also I just want to add another one, because we have the center, the Department for Sustainability here, and Rose is the head for that. I guess without having a dedicated sustainability department, that's going to be very, very difficult for a lot of our faculty members as well. We do a lot of collaboration with the sustainability departments that kind of really, really help.
Another addition to that, actually, when I had the 2 chapters about sustainability principles, I was fortunate to invite Rose and to my class, and she did an amazing job, because she provided the students with the theoretical background, but at the same time with real life case studies from the university, and also from the United Arab Emirates, from Abu Dhabi and from Dubai and from Sharjah. So we are lucky, actually. Rose.
Thank you. So do we have any other questions? Anybody else want to open their mic or type their questions into the chat?
Hi, Rose. Hi,
Yes.
everyone. Just to congratulate you all, I think this is amazing. I think this is what, for all the people here from both of the boot camps, I think this is just evidence of what we are doing with this boot camp. And thank you to all the students. I think seeing you coming from different disciplines and seeing what you've achieved, all the competencies that you've implemented, and now that we can see with your work, is amazing. And I'm sure that this experience has given you a lot of things to think about. And I think a lot of things will change you as persons. And I think this will have a major impact in the way we will tackle our challenges in the future. So I'm really, really happy to see the work. Mohammed, well done. Norita, Rose, everyone. It's amazing when we were talking about the implementation of ESD in your module a few months ago, and to see the students presenting this today is just incredible. So thank you so much to you all, and it's great to be part of this experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions out there? One of the things that when we were running through the presentation the other day, you talked about doing interviews with students on campus. And I was wondering how, have you ever done that with any of your other classes, had to kind of interview a different population, and how did that help you formulate your ideas or to better understand the challenge that was being faced by students in general?
So if I could answer this.
Sir.
We've done plenty of projects for several of our courses, and most of them we do only surveys. We conduct online surveys, and that was like our first step. We conducted online surveys so we could reach out to as many students as possible. And then from those, we kind of narrowed it down to students who drive. Okay, then. So then we reached out to our personal friends who drive to university. Everyone, we tried to focus on campus because this is an AUS issue. We focused on them specifically, and they were more than happy to participate, and it was very insightful altogether. Yes.
Great. And Mohammed, from a teaching perspective, have you seen that helps the students with building their empathy and thinking about and going beyond just kind of the head to the heart and the hand components of their learning?
Thank you, Rose, for this question. Really, I like this question. So one of the things we did in this course, we changed also the title of the course. So at Stanford or Harvard or the other universities, they have the title of the course is Innovation Entrepreneurship or Entrepreneurship Innovation. What we did at the American University is we added mindset, because one of the, let's say, goals of our course is to create and cultivate a mindset, change the culture, and create second habits among the students. And I think what the students, after talking to some of the students and some of the students who took the course and now they have their business, one of my former students now started his business. I am coaching them. So he told me what is unique about this course is that at the end, you have a project, you have a business idea you can take with you and then start to make the world a better place. So I think it's about the impact. Of course, in other courses, students also are exposed to other skills, different skills. But here one of the mandates of the course is to combine many skills, for instance, design thinking, system thinking, I can say finance thinking, entrepreneurship thinking, leadership thinking, marketing thinking. So it's a medley of many disciplines in one. And this transdisciplinary mindset is empowering students because it inspires students, or it imbues students to start testing the water, practicing. So we're moving from theory to the ways of beings. And let me maybe summarize this. So the best theory is the best one when it is useful, it is practical. And I think what the students have learned is the practicability of this class by the window projects, because there is no midterm, there is no quizzes, there is no memorization. The students, I will summarize, it's applied learning par excellence. Learn to apply first, solve a real life problem from your own environment situation, and then you go, you scale the idea or create an impact. So that's what I can say about the skills and the mindset that students will take with them after leaving university. But also the students maybe can use some of the tools or techniques that they have learned in this class and take other skills that they learn from other classes and combine them, create a synergy. And at the end, the students will be able to, let's say, integrate. And this is also another skill, collaboration, integrative problem-solving competency.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions? And again, if the Spanish speakers want to just open your mic, it'll automatically be translated for us. So please feel free to open your mic and ask your question, and we can answer those for you. We would love to hear from the Spanish speaking group as well.
May I, Rose?
Yes, please.
I'm going to speak in Spanish. So
Good.
go to the English channel. Mientras mis patriotas se animan a realizar esta posible traducción. En principio, antes que nada, agradecerles por el excelente trabajo que nos han presentado el día de hoy. Obviamente, la importancia de conocer cómo se aplica directamente el modelo de co-design al rediseño de la asignatura a través de diferentes actividades dirigidas a la aplicación de esos conocimientos que se van adquiriendo, creo que ha quedado en clara evidencia de su absoluta pertinencia. En este sentido, me interesaría conocer un poco más o que profundizaran un poco más en el tema relacionado con la carga de horas, porque efectivamente, como comentaban Norita y Mohamed, el modelo de evaluación que se ha implementado está dirigido a la no memorización, sino precisamente a la creación de un proyecto a través del trabajo colaborativo, el desarrollo de la inteligencia colectiva, la cooperación y, por supuesto, un desarrollo de un plan de aplicación personal a partir del cual se puede desarrollar diferentes marcos competenciales de índole más individual de cada uno de los estudiantes que han tenido la oportunidad de participar en el curso. En este sentido, al momento de hacer este rediseño de las diferentes actividades y el modelo evaluativo dentro del curso, ¿se encontraron con algún problema versus la currícula per se que requería el establecimiento del modelo evaluativo del curso? ¿O la universidad, por ejemplo, les dio absoluta libertad para implementar un modelo de aplicación práctica directa?
So Norita and Mohammed, if you could address, there were a couple of questions there. How much time did it take for you to develop all of this and to do this? And then how much freedom did you have in the evaluation process to do that? Were you held to certain parameters that the university gave you, or did you have full freedom to do the evaluation?
Yeah, so there are a few things. So let me just start, then Muhammad can, I guess, go after
Jump
that.
in.
Yes, definitely. So we work, like I said, this is one of the most coordinated courses that we have here at the university. So we have to follow a certain standard. So there are a few policies that we have to do that we cannot change. For example, because the course comes from Stanford IEN, we can only change 20 to 30% of the design of the course. And that 20 to 30%, we basically take the advantage of incorporating sustainability into our curriculum. So that's where it is. So basically, like you say, you saw the 20% of the project and then another 40%. So it's huge. So 80% is basically just project, and then 20% for participations. So in terms of participation, that is where the one area where faculty members has a lot of flexibility. So you can use that 20% as part of the class discussion. You can use that 20% to add in other activities, or you can just do whatever that you want as long as you have a way to measure all of them. So in terms of that, we're not restricted whatsoever. But again, like I said, I have been so far up to today, I have been one of the coordinator for the course. So it's a lot of work, to be honest. And we have so many different faculty members teaching the course with different ideas. So it's a lot of hand holding. And I was lucky enough to have Muhammad, as the pioneer to basically hold everybody's hand together in terms of what to do. So one of the biggest problem is that in terms of getting the ideas for the project. So I guess in one way to do that, like what Muhammad is doing is that we guide the student, but basically give them the freedom, do whatever that they want to do in terms of the project. The one thing that we want to make sure that in terms of the quality is to have the rubric. So to make sure that everything kind of standardized. So regardless of whoever teaching the course, the student's going to have the same experience. So that is the one thing that I guess that I can say. So Mohammed, you want to add to that?
I think I would like just to add two things. One is actually at the American University, we're a liberal arts university. So we inspire our students to have academic freedom. So we give them an assignment, but the assignment, let's say the brief, and the students, they are free to select any project they want. So they are free. Then they should, the best communication, they should talk to me, consult with me, because sometimes, I give you an example. Sometimes if you would like to work on an organization and you don't have access, you cannot interview or have access to the premises of this organization, so you cannot go and work on this project. So the best is to work on a non-profit organization or private organization, or for instance, university. So that was one of the things that I talked to my students about it. So they are free to choose, but sometimes I give some recommendations because of the experience I had with other classes. And I think if I rightly understand, you were asking about how much time for the projects. So in this case, so the students at the second week, I upload the assignment, the students on iLearn. It's a learning platform we have. And then I start mobilizing them, inspire them, encourage them to start. So week 6, they should submit and present. For project 2, they should also submit and present on week 12, which means they have about 12 weeks or 10 weeks to work on this project. And what I like most of the time is to inspire my students to continue working on the same projects, because they will learn from the first project and add to this, to learn from the first understanding of the projects and elaborate on the same organization. So that's what the team did. So they started working on the parking dilemma, using some of the tools and techniques they have learned in chapter 1, chapter 2, 3, 4. and then they continued working on the same projects by applying learning or theories or concepts, or let's say, for instance, we use some of the concepts we use or tools. I don't want to monopolize the conversation, but I need to mention this. So we have the empathy map. So we have the persona map. We have the business model canvas. So the students should use all these things, do all these frameworks in their projects. So I think it's about 12 weeks. Thank you. Too much talk.
Great, thank you very much. I think another really interesting thing that we're learning about all of this is all of the different tools that the students are given in the class, and how those are so transferable to other projects that they can work on and stuff like that. So that's really interesting to hear too. Okay, do we have any other questions before we wrap up? We promised that we would try to wrap up just a little bit early. It is right at the end of the day, and so many of our students and faculty here in the UAE are fasting, so I'm sure that they have iftars that they are wanting to attend to by 6:30. So we said we would need to end a little bit early, but I'd love to get one more question before we do. Anybody else?
I have a question to my students. Yeah.
Go.
Okay.
Perfect.
So my question is, what is your next step after finishing university? In terms of, yeah, go Iman.
Iman.
So I wasn't able to introduce myself before due to some issues. So I'm Iman. I'm a third-year computer science student. So to answer Professor Muhammad's question is, before I entered university, I planned to pursue a PhD, and I still plan to do the same, hopefully, when I get my master's done. But all of the learnings I achieve along my way, especially through this course, I believe I've learned a lot, which I can apply to my life. Being a computer science major, we hardly have such opportunities where we can conduct surveys and everything else, because our courses are structured in a systematic way. So through this course, all of the learnings I've learned, especially with my teammates, because it's such a multidisciplinary team, where finance major and computer science majors meet. So I believe that throughout my career, hopefully, and as I pursue my PhD, I would be able to still keep these learnings with me in the future.
Fantastic, very good. How about some of the other students?
Buen día. Bueno, primero felicitarlo por el hermoso proyecto que han desarrollado. Una pregunta o varias preguntas. El proyecto seguramente que lo tienen dividido en distintas etapas, y esas etapas se van realimentando unas con otras. Hay una evaluación, primero, ¿cuántas etapas tienen dividido cada uno de los proyectos que desarrollan los estudiantes? Y si en cada etapa hay una devolución, hay rúbricas y hay una realimentación en las etapas siguientes.
So Mohammed, have you, for each of those stages, do you have a rubric? And is there, have you guys, through coordination with Norita, do you talk with the other professors to get feedback on those rubrics and based on those project stages and stuff like that? How has that worked?
I think Norita, you can please elaborate on that.
Yeah, so in general, we basically encourage all the faculty to make sure that we incorporate at least 2 different stages throughout the whole project, meaning to say that you want to give constant feedback to the students. So you're going to have a few different milestones throughout the whole semester. And again, like I said, at this point, we did not implement this, but we are planning next semester onwards. The project will not only be evaluated by the professor that's teaching the course, but it should be evaluated by every single faculty members teaching the course, because we really want to make sure that the students are actually working together and also get feedback from not their own professors only. So yeah, so we'll be trying to make sure that we make the best use of this course and provide as much whatever it is that we can to help the students to improve the project and get the best of the course. I hope I answer your question, Jose.
There is also one
Sí,
thing I would
muchas
like to
gracias.
add. Just to add, I think there are many challenges, but one challenge is because the course itself is this interdisciplinary, and the faculty members who are teaching, they're coming from different disciplines. So, and as you know, for instance, a computer scientist faculty members sees reality differently from, let's say, an artist and a professor and faculty members who is teaching art or geography or humanity courses. So that's one of the challenges. That's why I think we should try to standardize the rubrics so that we can reduce the subjectivities of any faculty members and her or his disciplines.
But what a great opportunity to get feedback from people from different disciplines, because that's so rare in life in general that you get, you know, in the professional world, very rarely do you get your accounting office and your facilities office and your, you know, your operations office to give you feedback on something. So what a great opportunity for the students to get that kind of diversified feedback. That's wonderful. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. We really appreciate everyone's participation today, and we really want to thank the translators for making this possible for the Spanish-speaking group to join us. That was really fantastic. So thank you very much, and thank you so much to the students who all joined us and gave us a real-life example of the work that is being done and an outcome of one of a class that has been a curriculum has been developed through the boot camp. So we hope that this was really useful for everyone to see this example and to get an opportunity to hear from the students and from Narita and Mohammed based on their experience of going through the boot camp. Narita or Mohammed, any last parting words before we sign off?
Just to say thank you and enjoy the boot camp. Take the best opportunity that you have here.
That's the same. I will just enhance and echo what Norita said. Enjoy it.
Thank you all so much, everyone, for joining us. And we will meet again in hopefully in May for the next workshop. So thank you, everyone, and have a nice evening and Ramadan Kareem for those that are fasting. Thank you so much.